Let's get started!
Hey Deadline. You know what's my biggest pet peeve in manga and anime?
What is it?
Clever, comrade.
Useless child characters. You know what I'm talking about. The ones with no purpose in the story other than looking cute on camera. The ones you could completely remove and nothing will happen. I just find them highly annoying.
Me too.
Yeah, if anything, useless child characters are just extra work for the animators. Okay, now let me go start the rant. Okay, here we go. MHA chapter 412. This one has significantly less handum and glazing than the previous chapter, which is definitely nice. But on the other hand, it also has significantly less panels with actual detailed backgrounds, which is definitely not nice. Anyways, do take note that this video will not be a full recap. We are just gonna be ranting about things that don't make sense. But before we start, let me say a little something. So about this little scene from chapter 364. I just gotta ask, what happened to this mini subplot anyway? I mean, come on, it's been quite some time now ever since this scene happened. And yet there's just no follow-up whatsoever. Hell, every time there's a scene outside of Japan it's just all about hope and heroics, with literally no mention or reference on whether this silly plan is still going underway. So what the hell happened here? What happened to the plan? Did the developed countries just simply gave up simping for Handaman after they saw how easily he got restrained for over 30 chapters straight by no more than a simple kitchen knife cuttable black whip? Well, you know what? If this is the case, then I wouldn't even blame them. Anyways, that's enough questions from chapter 364. Now let's move on to the current chapter rant. Here we go. So about chapter 412. As a whole, this chapter's got two distinct segments, with the first half being focused on the Handaman battle, while the second half is focused on setting up the upcoming Talk No Jutsu plot. And now as for the rantable stuffs here in chapter 412 I can talk about. There's quite a couple of them scattered here and there, with the vast majority being located on the first half of the chapter. Needless to say, they're all pretty much Handaman related. And also another thing, the overall art quality is also quite rantable as well. You know what, let me go start the ranting on the art quality first, because it's pretty much the most obvious thing on the chapter anyways. Okay, so about the art of chapter 412. Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The art in this chapter is a complete and total downgrade compared to the art of the previous one. It's really noticeable. I mean, for comparison. In chapter 411, the art is beautifully detailed and shaded amazingly, and the characters are mostly drawn whole. Overall, it's quite a very visually pleasing chapter. And then here comes chapter 412, where not only there's a handful of recycled manga panels, but also the characters are pretty much just mostly drawn as a zoomed in shot of their head. But perhaps the most obvious art downgrade has got to be the general lack of actual backgrounds. No, seriously, aside from these 5 panels, the backgrounds for the rest of the scenes are literally just either black lines, or white smoke, or these things, or just nothing at all. And furthermore, on top of all these art issues, chapter 412 also has some weird art errors as well. Take this for example. So over here we have Handaman currently looking towards the black whip tendrils on his right side, and yet on the next panel, he's suddenly looking towards his left. And then there's also this other scene over here, where the green Jesus is clearly punching towards this direction, and yet Handaman's hand just somehow got cut off towards the opposite direction for some reason. And also there's the randomly appearing and disappearing black whips. So yeah. Chapter 412 just somehow has quite a lot of art related issues in general. Is it because the creator is already getting sick of Handaman? Or is because he's getting overworked again? Or is he sick? Either way, it's just really strange to see how the literal second MHA chapter of 2024 has a sudden art downgrade compared to the first. Anyways, that's pretty much all I want to say on the artwork. Now let's move on to the real chapter 412 rant. Okay, but before we start, first things first. Since the video's almost 5 minutes long already and I don't want it to drag on for much longer, I'm just gonna make this main chapter rant real quick. And by that I mean I'm just gonna keep things short and direct to the point and mostly just pointing out all the bullshit as I go over the chapter. Okay, with that said, let's start. Here we go. So chapter 412 begins with the continuation of Handaman's decay wave from the previous chapter. Overall it looks quite powerful and dangerous as heck, and it just really makes you wonder how could it even be countered. But no. Despite the entire threatening appearance, apparently just blowing away the topsoil completely stops the entire thing. Hell, in fact the decay wave didn't even spread backwards anymore, it literally just straight up harmlessly poofed into non-existence. And also about this one panel. Over here Handaman clearly danger sensed the incoming air blast, but instead of just dodging it he just stood there with his hands up like a f***ing idiot. Anyways, moving on. So after the decay wave got countered, Handaman then decided to just activate decay again. But instead of just simply crouching down and touching the ground, he decided to jump first like a f***ing idiot. Okay, let's proceed some more. So while Handaman is in the middle of his silly jump, the green Jesus suddenly went in and cut off his right hand. But instead of just using his left hand to proceed with decay, Handaman instead just unleashed an incredibly half-assed attack that didn't even hit anything but this little glove thing. Anyways. So after the little attack, the green Jesus' gear shift blowback suddenly kicked in, which severely weakened him. Handaman on the other hand is now finally on the ground and finally regrew his arm. All in all, he can now finally re-unleash decay. But instead of just doing that, he just f***ing stood still and started blabbering like a f***ing idiot. In fact, he just didn't attack anymore for the rest of the chapter. So yeah. So that's pretty much all the randable stuffs on the fight scene segment of the chapter. And pretty much just like what I said before, all of them are basically Handaman related. The guy just seriously can't stop f***ing up and clowning all over the place. Every f***ing time he gets an advantage or an opportunity against his enemy, he just does something extremely f***ing stupid instead. And if his enemy stops attacking, he also stops attacking as well. What the f***, at this point I don't even know how could anyone ever lose to this f***ing pathetic loser. It's just simply impossible. He's literally the ultimate clown, and yet he's supposed to be MHA's final boss. But anyways, that's enough Handaman rants. Now let's move on to ranting about some stuff on the second half of the chapter. Okay, so about the impending Talk No Jutsu plot. I gotta say, I find this one extremely boring. Yeah, I'm not even annoyed or irritated at all, it's all just simply boring as hell. I mean, it's pretty much the same damn thing as what happened back in the Libra fight anyway, where there's one hero character hell-bent on infantilizing a mass murderer they barely interacted with, and just treating them as nothing but a sad little kid with a sob story and completely ignoring all of their crimes, all while said mass murderer is currently and actively trying to murder them. Yeah, it's very much just a simple boring repeat, and equally just as nonsensically brain-dead stupid. Hell, the baby pictures are already starting to pop up, making the entire thing just even more f***ing repetitive and boring and not really worth ranting. Okay. Now before we end, one last thing. So about the final panel. Over here looks like OFA is gonna be surrendered to Handaman pretty soon. Probably as a part of a hidden plan to transfer the entire battle itself into the vestige world so the OFA spirits could also help out. But wait, if this is the case, then would this mean that future chapters would just have nothing but blank black backgrounds?
No. Wait.
Anyways, so that's pretty much all I want to say about chapter 412. Rant over. Okay, I'm done with the rant. Hey Deadline, do you wanna know what's my second biggest pet peeve in anime?
What is it?
Clever, comrade.
Studio favorites.
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about? Characters who not only keep getting shoved into scenes even though they are not even needed there, but they are also consistently animated better than anyone else, sometimes to the point that other characters on the scene barely move because all the effort is just put onto them. I don't know about you Deadline, but I really find those characters annoying.
Me too.
Oh hey there Mrs. Mindlayer. I conveniently didn't see you there until I finished talking about studio favorites. Okay, let's end this video.